Hello, welcome to Miniature Realms. My name is Stuart. Welcome to the first episode of a new short, irregular podcast series with my good friend Dan, who is my co-host on the Hobby Hour podcast that lives on this channel. This series is all going to be about a little fun delve into Warhammer 40k. It's going to be something extra to the channel. It's not going to be replacing other content that would normally be on there. So if you're a fan of the channel and you're not a fan of Warhammer 40k, don't worry, this isn't some big takeover, but we're both starting a small project. Dan's a little bit bigger than mine, in order to be ready for 11th edition, or at least be ready around that time. And we wanted to document it and have a bit of a fun with this tale of two gamers, in this instance, style of video.
Miniature Realms is proudly sponsored by Counter-Attack Bases. They stock a wide range of counters, gaming aids and movement trays for multiple game systems, and offer custom items to suit your club, your event, or even your podcast or YouTube channel. Check out the link in the video description.
So here we are, Dan, for episode 1 of Tale of Two Gamers. No one's ever used that title before. Road to 11th edition. We're going to talk a little bit about a fun 40k project for me, maybe something fun for you, definitely, maybe a little bit larger. We don't live in the same town, but you inspired me, and I kind of knew that when a new edition of 40k comes along, I'm always tempted. I always buy the book, and then I never really keep going with it. The last lot was just a little bit to play with my son, which I still do very occasionally, but my main game is Warhammer the Old World, and I play lots of other stuff. And if you are new to the channel, you'll see the channel's got nearly 600 videos on it now, and very few, probably less than 20, have got 40k on the thumbnail. That's not normally what I do, but I'm always excited when the new edition comes around. But it kind of started with you there, so let's talk about your 40k project and what you're planning on doing it.
Well, I'll start this by saying I blame Nick. I expressed a little bit of interest in 40k recently. A lot of my local gaming group are mainly playing 40k. There's some playing some Heresy, but it's predominantly 40k. Nothing much else is going on at all. So I nicked his copy of the Leviathan rulebook. I appreciate that it was out of date almost as soon as they released it, but certain fundamentals remain as they are. And then probably about 2 months ago or so, we were in a chat and I just said, look, can we just play through a quick game just to see? And we had a laugh. I used just the Chaos Space Marine Codex, the latest one. Used the Renegade Raiders. I forget the exact terminologies, and people are going to have to forgive me for that. Basically, it's essentially the way that you select your army. It's the special rules that apply to your list, which broadly revolves around gaining some additional AP on models on objectives and a few other bits and pieces. Pretty cool. We had fun, and then suddenly they announce Red Corsairs, Huron Blackheart, who's always been a very cool character. The model has always been polarizing, I'll say. But I always quite liked it. And the books are very cool that he features in. Obviously, anyone who is old school and the Bad War, Imperial Arm books, loved Huron, although obviously that came after they'd originally released the Huron Blackheart Muddit showing. It's the background to him. And he features in arguably my favourite of the three Night Lords books, which is Blood Reaver, the second book, because he's a bit of a nutcase. And it's quite interesting the way he's forged this force that aren't. He's almost vying for power against Abaddon, but they're not a traditional old school legion. They're creating their own thing in the Maelstrom, and it comes from his desire to not be ruled. And I've always found him as a character really quite interesting. And then the new models are just insanely good. I decided why not. So I managed to get hold of a test miniature. which I believe is one of their Blackstone Fortress Chaos Space Marines. So
Right. Yeah.
through the magic of internet trickery, there will probably be a picture of this Space Marine I've painted on the screen. Quite a simple job, nothing overly fancy. Um, Relatively limited color palette. A lot of airbrush work, some masking off, very little in the way of actual edge highlighting or advanced
Mm.
techniques. Keeping it as simple as possible. Tried out some new techniques I can port over into other projects. For instance, the soft armor, the ribbing between the armor sections on the Space Marine. It's reddish brown, which is an AK Gen 3 color, which I've
Yeah. Yeah.
become very fond of. Great color.
Hmm.
And basically, it's mixed with black, and the closer you get to the center of it, the more reddish grey there is, almost a pure. And then you just
Yeah. Yeah.
Black Legion over the top of it to mark the ribs back in, and it makes it look shiny. Gives it
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
really, really quick. Super, super
Yeah.
fast.
Sounds like the kind of stuff I do. It's nice to hear you exploring those kind of techniques
Yeah.
and things.
So yeah, it's an incredibly limited palette, which works. So I started buying some miniatures. I think Chaos Space Marines have been part of the part works for a little while, the 40k
Hmm.
one, because I was able to pick up some Havocs dirt cheap, like 25 quid, and I think that's a £40 unit normally. Brand new old
Wow.
screw.
Yeah.
Terminators, much the same. Managed to blag a couple of Chaos Space Marines here and there. Again, mostly Nick. He sorted me some of the Traitor Guard early because I was going to buy the Lords of the Maelstrom box
Yeah.
that they released, the Battle Force, essentially the 160 quid job, which has got the new Reeve Captain, the Raiders,
Yeah.
10 more Chaos Marines, 10 Traitor Guard, and 5 Terminators. So I got those Traitor Guard early, swapped them back, and I trimmed a lot of the spikes off again, and hopefully, again, through the wonders of the internet, there should be a picture of that around now. Um, Hopefully, I can send something broadly painted by the time you need to put this together. But if not, then I'll take a photo of what I've started. I've started painting the fatigues on those. They're undercoated, basing's done, all that kind of stuff. So I've been cracking on, building some bits. I also got Huron himself as well as the Lords of the Maelstrom bit, but I've only put together what I've put together. I've not put together anything else. I've
Hmm.
not put any of the new miniatures together other than Huron's crew because I managed to get hold of that ever so slightly early. Local shop had a couple of copies here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very fortunate. Been able to like a day or two early. So uh, yeah. So I've put together a chunk.
Hmm.
I've done my test miniature. I've started on the Traitor Guard, which I think, to be honest, are probably the more complicated unit of the units I've bought so far to
I can
paint
imagine
because there's
actually.
more of
Yeah.
them. Um, I've still got a few bits to buy. Some tanks
Hmm.
is about it. A couple of Land Raiders. Um, I suppose we'll come to army lists, but
Hmm.
how about yourself with regards inspiration and drive? Where were you at with it?
So, as I sort of hinted at the beginning, um, I like 40k lore, and I have played a little bit of 40k, loads more heresy. But I love the universe. But I just always focused on the square based side of things more, and I'm naturally a fantasy fan. And when I think about the stuff I love about Warhammer 40k, it always takes me back to I started with Rogue Trader and then played quite a bit of second edition, and then nothing really after that. I dabbled a couple of times, which I'll come on to in a moment. But I've always read books. I've always enjoyed it.
Mm.
Just never got super excited about playing. And I play occasionally because my 11-year-old has got some 40k, and I played like a slimmed down version with my younger son as well. And it's quite easy to do that with 40k. You can use the stat cards, use the unit profiles. It's very easy
Yeah.
to say, just roll this dice, just roll that. And I played a version of the game where each model became a unit essentially in the way it activated. So you're just rolling on that one model. Works fine. You can stick 5 models down, and it's simpler than playing Kill Team for a 7 and 10, 11-year-olds, etc. But that's all I've really done. Played a couple of 1,000-point games with my 11-year-old. He's got some Necrons, he's got some Tau, but very, very little. And I haven't played for a few months now. If I sat down at a table to play, I wouldn't remember. I'd have to flick through the rules again. So that's how little I play. And then I'm on the creator program with Games Workshop. I mostly get sent old world stuff and some Middle Earth stuff and some bits, and occasionally you get offered other things. And I was offered some stuff for the Maelstrom release, which is what was drawing you back in. And I didn't know what I was going to get. They said, would you be interested in painting anything for this? And you basically do a checklist. And I said, I'm a bit stuck for time, but I'll take a character model if you want. And they sent me the whole Eldar box, which was really cool. And I painted Karsef. There's a video on the channel. I painted Karsef, really, really cool. And I thought to myself, right, should I do Eldar? I had Eldar in Rogue Trader, had Eldar a little bit in second edition. Very, very different game back then. And I've had in my mind an idea of doing a version of the studio army, a Latok army. There was in White Dwarf 138, the first White Dwarf I ever bought. There's an article in there by Andy Chambers, and I thought this could be good, nostalgia project, etc. And I bought the Codex. I was reading it, and it was okay, but it wasn't inspiring me. And there was something nagging away. And then I thought, the other nostalgia I really have is from reading William King's Space Wolf. Absolutely loved it. Probably my favourite ever 40k novel. That doesn't include Heresy as well, but in terms of 40k, pure 40k, favourite ever 40k novel. I know it's old, and probably not all very canon at points. There are some scenes in the book that show its age, but also I just loved it. And I remembered when I first read it, and it got me thinking about Space Wars. And I had a gap, like a lot of people, from gaming. And when I came back into gaming, I started with a bit of 40k as well as fantasy. And I went to a games day, and it was the games day. You might remember the year. I can't off the top of my head. It might be 2009 or something, when they released the previous lot of Space Wolf plastics, when they redid them. It was a Space Wolf Codex. It might have been 5th edition. Might have been 5th edition. Might have been in that one. But they had the new Blood Claws, and they had the new Grey Hunters. It was that time when there was brand new plastics for them. Because I think at that time they were still metal, probably some of them, weren't they? Some of the miniatures must have been.
Well, some of the miniatures maybe. I think some of it might have been fine cast around then. The Blood Claws and stuff were using the Space Wolf upgrade sprue on top of the tactical squads and stuff. Because I've had a couple of Space Wolf armies over the years. Because I used to play a lot of 40k. That was my jam when I was younger. That and Battlefleet and Mordheim. I liked a lot of the specialist games, but I tended to play 40k of the two main games. Although I did have fantasy armies, dwarves, chaos warriors. The Space Wolf books were really, really good. I haven't read those in a long, long time.
You should do it. I'm on the second one again. The second one, Raven. I'm on the Ragnar's Claw. I'm on that now. So I'm enjoying
the
them.
later ones, the Nathan Long ones, less so much. The one with the wolf in it, I was a bit. 13th Company, I think it's called.
Don't think I ever read that, but Nathan Long took over from Bill King with Godric and Felix, which is another big kind of nostalgia passion for mine anyway. But I'm really enjoying the books, and it gave me that feel I wanted, that nostalgic feel. And it reminded me also, and it's the first time I've ever had nostalgia for that's not quite true, but one of the first times I've ever had nostalgia for my return to gaming. I do have a little bit for 7th edition fantasy when I enjoy that time, but I remember going to that games day because it was my first ever games day, and I didn't go back when I was a kid. I didn't have a store in my town, so it was none of that jump on the bus stuff and go. So I went by myself, and I remember being excited to pick this stuff up early because it was available a couple of weeks early at that point, and came home with a new army book, a codex, and a couple of the boxes of the new plastics. And I built them. painted them, I'm pretty sure. Most of them, didn't really play many games with them. I can't remember what happened to them. It was that many years ago. But anyway, so it brought back that nostalgia. I thought, I don't want to do the Eldar. I'm not going to do it. I'll keep the Codex. It's lovely to have on my shelf. I've learned my lesson of stop selling books when you don't think you'll need any more, because you will want them again a few years down the line. But I picked up this supplement.
It's a very
Fantastic.
cool codex cover.
It's really cool as well. Some of the new, we've got some of the codexes for my son as well. I've got the Guard one, the Astra Militarum one, because that is the other sort of 1,000-point force that I've got. Again, not all fully painted. And there's some videos on the channel for those of you who do want to go back and find them. And it's fine. It's okay. And I found his Necron one and Tau one a little bit soulless, to be honest with you. And some of the Eldar one I don't like. I just prefer the older looking books. I'm an old guy who likes the more grim dark. But this has got elements of that in it. So I thought it was okay. I quite enjoyed reading that. It's just a supplement. Yeah, I can imagine. It's just a supplement. I've not gone out and bought the Space Marine Codex, because I'm very aware we're about to change edition. The rumours are, I suppose, that it might not be such a big change. This is relatively new, so that might stay current. But we also know that the Space Marine one will be the first one that changes. So I'm not going to go out and buy that. And pretty much all the choices I'm making for my initial project are going to be Space Wolf only ones anyway. So I have bought that, because I'm starting a new way of doing this. Not to buy it all, build it all, and then not finish a project. So I'm going to paint a unit at a time. I don't normally do this with my army projects. I'm slightly lying here. I had some vouchers. I picked up Logan Grimnar, but that's all I've got. So my goal is I paint these, and then I get to paint Logan Grimnar, and I'm not allowed to buy anything until I've at least painted these, and then I could buy my next box. And I worked out basically an 1,000-point list, which was the Blood Claws, the Grey Hunters. So I'm trying to. It's how long I've been out of 40k. 3 characters. A Dreadnought, there's not a lot in it, but some of the new Wolfguard Terminators, because they are beautiful miniatures as well. So I'm basically picking the miniatures that I like, and that's it. And I just want to enjoy it as a hobby thing that might not live on the channel aside from this. I might turn things into a painting video, because that's kind of what I do. But I'm not putting any pressure on myself to do that. I'm just going to paint them to enjoy them. And then we'll see how we go. So my project is a bit different to yours. Yours sounds like you're building a bigger army. You've planned out 2K, have you? And essentially,
2K. Yeah. So that amounts to Huron, some Terminators, and Land Raider, a Sorcerer, Lord in Terminator armor with some Terminators and Land Raider, Master of Executions with 10 choppy Marines, not the Raiders. In a Rhino, the Reeve Captain, and 10 Raiders, a unit of 5 guys sit on the back with heavy bolter, 10 Traitor Guard, and then the Overseer or Enforcer, I think it's called, the Enforcer. The Commissar, although I've not used the Commissar. We'll come to that when we do some hobby updates, so we can start showing off some models.
Yes,
with the Ogren. 5 Havocs.
Yeah.
So there's still plenty to be getting on with.
Loads, but also less than your other projects that you're working on. We won't go to them in great detail, but in terms of numbers of figures, especially with me working on old world armies, you have an old world project on the go as well, and a heresy project. It's nice to have the lower figure count for these. It makes them. Absolutely. These are true skirmish games. Again, a large skirmish, but it is a skirmish game, and that's partly why I'm sticking to 1,000 points at the moment, because I'm not sure what I want in my army beyond those units. I literally is picking the models I like, and I messaged Pete Uplander on Instagram, and he plays just Space Wolf everything. That's kind of it. Whether it was Heresy now with 40k, and I just said these are the models I like. Is this going to be all right? Because I just don't play 40k, and he's like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, yes, you can take 3 special characters or 2 special characters normal if you want. That's fine. That's how the game works, kind of thing. Because I come from a background of games where you don't go you might be deemed a bit too cheesy to go too much with the special characters, but 40k is a different animal, so I've got to get my mindset with that and get it if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
I don't
find a.
understand the meta. I've got no interest. I think that we need to be abundantly clear on this when you're
Oh
launching it.
yes, yeah, yeah,
I have absolutely
casual.
no interest. It's part of what killed off 40k for me in the first place was the fact that there was a 3 month cycle and I could never I had a sister battle army for ninth and it just changed constantly and I couldn't be bothered with it. It's what killed any excitement I had for it. So keeping this very small, very chill, let the dice decide. Um, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens with 11th. There's a lot of
Yes.
rumors, a lot of talk about
Mm,
it being the bike edition that keeps on coming
okay.
up. Because there's rumors that part of that rumor engine is Wazdaka,
Okay.
which
And
would be
bikes would be
cool.
good. Bikes would be. I could see
Um,
that fitting in with my theme nicely.
Certainly with the Space Wolves, yeah. And again,
Yeah.
Huron's crew are supposed to have roving biker gangs. We'll see. But it'd be interesting to see whether they change how units are comprised, where basically now you pay a flat fee and you can take
Yeah.
whatever you want. So everyone naturally optimizes. Whereas if you're forced to actually think about whether you want to pay for the plasma gun, for instance, you might not actually take it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see those things, where that goes. With the new edition, I think it'll be very light touch. I can't see them making a big sweeping change with
Yeah.
this edition. Maybe wrong, but I genuinely don't think it'll be a move back to, shall we say, more narrative play with more in-depth rule army selection stuff like that. I just can't see that happening right now.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pace
There's
they're
part of
going.
me would that misses that. And obviously, I write
Oh,
design
hugely.
lists for Warhammer the Old World, and I really enjoy the crunchiness of the list writing. I don't necessarily need crunchy rules for gameplay though for 40k, but
No.
I do quite like being able to really sort of stamp your own mark on your army by being able
Mm.
to sort of choose loadouts. And I found it very odd writing lists in the app just by going, I love that and that and that. It's like shopping on Amazon. It's really it's easy. I get it. I do get it. But it feels I'd like a little bit more restrictions and structure there. But then
Yeah.
as a marketing, as selling a product, is clearly you can build whatever you want. So I suppose from a casual narrative gamer perspective, which we both really are, you can build to any theme you want because anything works. But it did leave me thinking, what am I supposed to do? And maybe if I'm new and I came to it, I wouldn't have that. It's because I'm used to it, but I
Mm.
felt uncomfortable. It's almost like, this is too
It,
easy to
it
just take whatever I want? Am I doing something wrong? Am I
yeah.
breaking some rules? I felt like I needed a bit more guidance, but that's probably me rather than the rules.
The restrictions to basically what's in the box now is very odd. I still find that quite difficult to get on with because, like for the Chaos Renegades box, the Legionaries box, because you only get one of each type of special weapon, plasma gun, etc. You can only have so for every 5 models, you can have a special weapon, but you can only have one of each.
Right. Yeah.
So in the old times, well, people used to say units are 6 for 2 plasma guns for the most part, but that's not a thing anymore. Um,
Yeah. Might be a good thing.
it is quite odd, and
Mm.
Death Guard has seemed very odd with it because the box is
I
so
haven't even looked.
special.
I
Yeah,
couldn't even tell you. There's so
but I
little I know
think
about this game. It's unbelievable.
I'm enjoying that though. I'm basking in it. I'm finding a lot of bliss in my ignorance,
Mhm.
because I'm looking at what I want, and I'm making my choices based on that. And if it turns out not to be very good, I kind of don't care.
Yeah.
It's just I'll have painted miniatures. I'll have an army I can play with. I can hang out with a mate and roll some dice and spend
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours potentially because you preamble and you chat along and you get another beer out of the fridge, all that nonsense.
Mhm.
Just not thinking about anything else in life, just
Yeah.
enjoying part of what actually used to really give me a lot of joy when I was younger. And I think I'm trying to reconnect with a lot of that. particularly when I was in school, and as a common, I think, experience for a lot of people who are our age. Um, it wasn't a popular thing at school. I was a social killer.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and if you're a bit nerdy or whatever, I don't mind admitting that I didn't have the easiest time at school because of that kind of thing. Going and playing games with people who are into the same thing I was into on the weekends, forging friendships I still hold now
yeah.
as an escape from the rest of the world, particularly when the world is so incredibly dark at the moment. Trying to rekindle a bit of that, just enjoying what you're doing can only be a good thing.
Yeah, yep, yep, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'll be
100%.
honest, as much as the deeper synergy, the people who play competitive 40k up to a very high level, um, fair enough if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But the actual basics of 40k are super easy. A
Hmm.
lot easier than Heresy, a lot easier than Old World, a lot easier than pretty much anything else.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of I
True.
kind of like a bit of that right now. I
Yeah,
may
I think
understand the
that's.
deep lore and the mysteries, but fine.
I think that's part of the appeal for me.
Yeah.
But primarily, it's a painting and collecting
Mm.
exercise for me, and doing it just because I want to. That kind of rather than thinking, well, I won't do it because I don't need another game because I don't need any more games, but
None of us do.
because it's so low model count, I really can do this, especially if I do it the way I've decided, which is buy a
Mm.
box, paint them, take the cellophane off it, paint the unit before I buy the next one, rather than buying the whole project. That way, if it does stall, it falls apart, then I've not invested loads, which I won't get all of my money back, so to speak. So I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with it being 1,000 points because that's just the right level to play with my son. And if I paint it all and I want to expand to 1,500 to 2,000, then I'll know that once I've painted the rest of it, and I'll be very happy with it sitting in the cabinet. And if all that happens is that I end up with 500, 750 points, and it's all painted, I love Logan Grimnar miniature. I'd paint that and
Mm.
have it in the cabinet anyway. I love the Ragnar model. I love the characters. I've just said, those space. For those of you who don't know, the older Bilking novels, it's kind of Ragnar's story, his
Yeah.
origin story, right from being a young man in his little village. It's like a fantasy story almost. The
Yeah.
space warfare. So I love that. I want those miniatures anyway. I love those Bloodclaw miniatures. And if it gets to the point where they just sit in the cabinet looking pretty, then yeah, I'm not going to worry anyway. But if I've got a small force to play with my son for games, that'll be great as well. And I've got 1,000 points of Astra Militarum, so they can always
Mm.
ally with them anyway. The way I play the game, it won't matter. And again, it's something for us to look forward to as well. We can meet up at Warhammer World
Yeah.
for a bit of a catch up and a casual game, and as we get a bit closer to the time, we can think about a bit of fun, a bit of a reason for them to fight, a narrative.
Yeah.
I haven't read the new stuff yet. I don't think you have either. The Maelstrom stuff. I don't know
No.
whether both factions turn up in that. I don't know what the Space Wolves are up to at the
Well,
moment in the
there
lore.
is precedent for the Space Wolves and the Red Corsairs having a bit of a scrap. Funny enough, I'm reading The Tyrant of the Hollow Worlds at the moment,
Hmm.
which is, I can't remember who wrote that. It's the first book by the author I've read. And spoiler alert, it's Space Wolves versus Red Corsairs.
Okay, that might be something to look at after
Yeah.
I've finished blasting through all Bill King's Space Wolf books
Hmm.
for sure.
Well, Huron decides
Interesting.
to raid these worlds. Inquisitor runs for help, and who does he bring back? But
Yeah.
and he makes a very keen point about it. Some smelly space wolves.
Some smelly Space Wolf. Brilliant.
Apparently, they smell. So
Yeah. Wow.
who'd have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's. I think they match up quite nicely. Actually,
Hmm.
I mean, for a start, I think those new Corsair models, you could use them and convert and paint as
Oh God, yeah.
Space Wolves anyway, couldn't you?
Hmm.
Which will all work your own successor chapter of Space Wolves and use them. They've got that vibe to
Or
them,
red
which is
wolves,
pretty cool. Red
who
Wolves.
are red wolves. Yeah, there's a group of space wolves who decided to break from the Imperium
Yeah,
and fight with Huron. Um,
brilliant.
they're
So
in here in the Huron Blackheart, Lord of the Maelstrom book, the Mike
Yeah.
Lee one. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
he's basically got a strike cruiser for Trade
Uh,
Space Wolves. It might not be a strike cruiser, it might just be a frigate or something. But either way, he's got a ship full of Trade Space Wolves.
nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. I think. Well, I'm excited, and I'm excited that it's, as I said, it's a relatively, for me, a small project, and I can sort of do a little bit, and we can report back, and yeah, arrange something. Whether that ends up, I imagine, being how long it takes us to get stuff painted, that we won't be ready to play until 11th is out, which would
yeah.
suit anyway, in many ways, because it means not relearning 10th and then having to forget it and 11th, but so be it. No matter what it is, I can't imagine 11th being out later than the summer. They don't
It's
normally
usually
bring it
July.
out that. Yeah, I imagine it. Well, we might find out soon. We got the Adepticon reveal
Yeah.
coming up. We've just
Well,
had the reveal
Garrick,
of Yarrick, which is, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll pick that miniature up. That's very much
the
my era.
animation's amazing as well.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's dark. It's very, very, a lot of I mean, the Leviathan one was a little bit bleak and dark, but it was Space Marines having a fight with Tyranids. But there's something
Mhm.
about how bleak that Yarrick animation is, particularly when the two guys reach and they just want to get stitched by
Yeah.
a fighter bomber. Stuff like that, just people just getting killed left, right, and center. But the futility of it,
Mhm.
it's super cool. Going back a bit of the grimdark, because I think 40k got a little bit shiny for a while. I think that also eroded some of my passion for it and made me move away
Yeah.
from it because it became very, very shiny for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, I agree. Some of that is a natural evolution of art styles, um, and the perception of it, the way I perceive it as opposed to what you knew before. Because I've still got a lot of love for the mostly black and white army
Oh,
books and
Realm of
codexes,
Chaos. Yeah.
and yeah, colors, on the whole is probably a bit better, but
Mm.
it's nostalgia feel, and that sticks with you, and people don't like. So I've never been against the change, and I've understood it, but it always felt like I mentioned earlier, some of those new books are soulless. It's not about what's written, just the presentation of them just didn't draw me in quite the same way.
Yeah.
And I got that feeling when the old world came back, and I'm looking, it felt like old stuff. And let's just
Mm.
face it, it's targeted at people of my age, whereas 40k is targeted for a much wider age range demographic. But yeah, you're right. There is something about some of the stuff that looks a bit grim. And that's probably why I like Space Wolves over Ultramarines, because Ultramarines don't do anything for me at all. And there's when I'm looking down the list of units to expand beyond 1,000 points, the standard Space Marine units aren't exciting me either. I
No.
wish there was completely forgot about the Stormwolf gunship. It doesn't exist anymore, obviously. And I
Yeah.
remember, and I saw a picture of it the other day. I thought, that's really cool. I want that. Oh, it's not in the game anymore. I think there's legacy rules for it still now, but that's clearly going the way of the dodo, isn't it?
Mm.
So you probably wouldn't make sense to spend silly money on picking one up. But if it was still in the game, I'd be adding that to my
Oh,
list. I like it. I guess something
I've
about
never
it.
been a fan. It was just a tasteless assault ram,
Yeah.
but just done badly. To me, it always seemed
Oh,
just
I
like
quite like it.
the middle little aisle version of that.
Oh dear me. Well, I find the other stuff even more kind of clinical, maybe, but maybe it's just the way it paints up.
Well,
But
Wolf Scouts, bikers,
yeah,
like long range
the
recon.
Wolfsca is firepower, isn't it? We talked about this a little bit, and I don't know the game very well. I feel like
Mm,
it's definitely a combat focused army. That makes sense, but at some point I'll need some things with with a bit of firepower, and the dreadnought's the way to go. Um, but it's whether that's enough, and whether I just need a couple of those would
yeah.
anchor it in terms of firepower. And then, yeah, I like the idea of getting some bikes and doing some conversions of the bikes, because that would look brilliant. And I definitely will pick up the scouts; they look good, and you've got your Psyker there as well. So yeah, good stuff. I will pick up Yarrick.
Um,
I'm not doing guard. I've got my guard already, but I will pick up Yarrick just because it's a beautiful miniature, and I
yeah,
owned
I'll
the
buy it for
original.
that.
owned the original back in the day, back when I was playing all things. It's just stunning. And I don't know, there's rumors. I heard rumors the other day. It's probably a Valrak video, to be honest with you, about there being a bridging book between now the narrative for now and an Armageddon, which is the best kept, worst kept secret for 11th.
Well, they reckon the box is going to be Armageddon, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it seems to be anyone watching this that knows 40k will have probably heard that long before I did. But
I reckon Rinsworld
you
for
think
the
so?
anniversary. Yeah, 40th anniversary of 40k. And they've re-released the Rinsworld in special edition. Pedro Cantor's the only Space Marine still in Finecast.
Okay.
He desperately needs redoing, although he's not Ezekiel, at least, who is the only miniature for the Space Marines who is still metal. Chief Librarian of the Dark Angels. I would say that maybe what we're looking at with that war boss perhaps may have been across, like, maybe Rinsworld's the start into Walks into Armageddon. Who knows?
It could be. Well, the rumor is about the bridging thing is that Armageddon's going to be announced as a narrative before 11th comes out. This is the what Valrak rumor, and I don't normally watch his stuff, but it popped up in my feed, and that would, I could see with Yarrick being announced before Adepticon, maybe he's part of that release. So maybe there's a book that is a bit like the Maelstrom book, which moves the narrative towards Armageddon, and then you get your Armageddon box. So the Armageddon storyline basically goes across 2 editions, which also would I suppose lead towards those rumors that it's going to be a light touch and that your rules will stay valid for now until the new books come out, rather than a whole massive index thing. Who knows? But that would be interesting as well. It pleases me if that's the case, because obviously I've just purchased this, and this isn't that old. It's less than a year old. So if they are well down the list before they get done again, then all good. But
Chaos.
Yeah, it's just come out, isn't it? The stuff you've bought is literally just come out.
But even the main Dex isn't that old either.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't.
Yeah, there's no new book. It's just new data cards for the new units for the existing Chaos book. But I think that's max 18 months old.
Okay, that doesn't normally stop them in the 3-year cycle, though, I suppose.
No,
especially
if they were going to do it, it'd be now, because Mutilators, Defiler, they're out soon.
Are they? Okay. They've got form of invalidating stuff. I'm sure someone will put that in the comments, but invalidating stuff literally months after it's come out. But if it is a light touch,
naive. This is a positive place. This is a positive.
Yeah. I'm not worried either way, because my investment level is low. And I'm not too fussed either way. I mean, it's easy. And for some people, that would be important to them. But I won't be sad if it was like we said, light touch with the Space Marine Codex is clearly going to be out first, and I can pick that up then if I'm interested in the other units and the code, so I can build it on the app if I want to use the official app. But I wouldn't be surprised if Yarrick doesn't come out sooner. And maybe there is one more campaign book. It's like the run up to the path to Armageddon, and then the launch box is Armageddon.
Still got the Iron Warrior one to come as well.
Really? Okay. So well, that makes that's still a few months before. If we say July, you can easily get to. 500 Wells was this year, wasn't it? And the Maelstrom now, so we've already had 2 narrative books with new units and cards and stuff, and miniatures as well. So it's very believable that you'd have 2 more, maybe even more than that, but 2 more campaign books leading up to the new edition, especially if they are keeping everything current and live, so the rules that are in those books aren't immediately out of date. That's a really nice way. If that's something they could do with every edition of every one of their games, would definitely take the sting out of edition changes. I know they can't do that every time when there's a big change, when they redo everything and there's indexes and everything. But if it's light touch and all the stuff they've just put out is like, yeah, that's still valid. We wrote it with the new edition in mind. Then you know what? That's really nice. It means that all that stuff is still current and valid and new, and I quite like it. But
fingers crossed.
We'll see.
We will see indeed.
I think we've probably run out of steam there for a first chatter. We have, and next time hopefully we'll have some more stuff. There'll be some. Yeah, I need to before we next. These are going to be regular, as and when we have time, as and when we've done stuff. And as when we get news and things, and they're for us. We're doing this for us, really, as a way to kind of keep us going. This isn't the kind of content that's usually on the channel. We have a podcast that we do as well. If you're new and you're watching this and you've not watched the channel before, it would be bizarre, but we have a podcast that we record called The Hobby Hour, and we've just recorded one, and there was nearly a 4-month gap, which doesn't always happen. But this little series is just for me and Dan to talk about it and share it with people, and we'll see how many people engage or like it. But it's very much a bit of a irregular video podcast, and we'll leave it at that and put no pressure on it to do anything more than that. So Dan, have you got anything to say before we go? If there are people who are new to us and we haven't introduced ourselves, maybe we'll do that in the second one. Maybe we'll call this, instead of episode 1, maybe we'll call it a prologue. Who knows? But maybe we'll do a mini introduction in the second episode. But where can they find you on Instagram? Would be the best place for Hobbywise.
At Dan_OOTFP, which was a throwback to our old podcast, Out the Frying Pan.
Yes.
So you can find me on there, sporadically updated. There's not been anything on there for a little while. For reasons which we've covered in the bit we recorded before this, the Hobby Hour, a bit of Hobby blog. So this is something that we're doing, particularly in my case, to get over that bit of hobby block.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then if you found the channel, you can find the links to all my stuff in the video description underneath. And as you'll see on the channel, if you have a little nose around, I paint loads and loads and loads and loads of different stuff, but there's a lot of old bod on there. But there will be, as I say, a touch of 40k on there now. And if there's enough people like this and really watch it and get into it, then I'll do more. But at the moment, it's just for us. But it will grow if there's the market for it and people care enough about it. So do let us know in the comments. Do engage with us, give it a like and all that other stuff. And if you want to see 40k stuff on the channel, do let me know, because I will respond if there's enough people saying, yeah, I want to see more. Anyway, let's leave it for now. We'll catch you all soon. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed Dan and my little ramble there. And I'll echo what I said at the beginning of the video. It's going to be a short, irregular series, and it is no way meant to take over from anything that's usually on the channel. It is extra content rather than something that's taking place of Warhammer the Old World or any of the other things that I carry on the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Pop your comments below. As always, let me know if you're excited about 11th edition as well. Are you tempted just to try a small project to see what it's like? Maybe you're just going to pick up some new miniatures and paint them. Like I've already said, this is probably mostly a painting project for me. But if you have enjoyed it, do drop those comments below. Give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Check out all the links in my video description and support me on Patreon if you can. It's the very best way of supporting me and the channel, so I can keep making lots of different kinds of content for lots of different flavors of interest. But thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.